shadows dance across the trees, and just beyond your sight, something moves. You see her. She is beautiful, otherworldly. Her dark eyes draw you in, but there is something unsettling about her presence. As she steps closer, you feel an icy chill run down your spine. Her feet, they aren't human. They're hooves. She is a figure steeped in mystery and folklore, a shapeshifter, a spirit, a warning. She is the Deer Woman. Today we delve into her story. From ancient tribal legends to modern encounters, the Deer Woman has haunted Native American consciousness for centuries. I'm Chris, and this is Podcast Folklore. So who or what is the Deer Woman? It is easy to say that she isn't tied to just one tribe or one specific place. Her legend stretches across various Native American cultures, from the Lakota Sioux to the Omaha, the Pawnee, the Ojibwe, and the Cheyenne. She goes by many names and takes many forms, but across these stories, certain elements remain consistent. She is part human, part deer, and often appears to men who have strayed from the path, whether literally or morally. In some stories, she is a warning, beckoning men into the wilderness, only for them to discover too late that she is not what she seems. In others, she is a symbol of fertility and protection, a guardian of women and the land. But whether she is feared or revered, the Deer Woman has endured for centuries, leaving an indelible mark on Native American spiritual traditions. While the Deer Woman's story has passed down orally for generations, the first written records of her come from ethnographers in the 19th century, and this was a time when Native American life was under severe pressure from colonization. One of the earliest ethnographers to document the Deer Woman was Alice Fletcher, who worked extensively with the Omaha and Ponca tribes. In her fieldwork, Fletcher recorded a brief but intriguing account of a shape-shifting spirit, a woman with a feet of deer who could lure men away from their homes. The Omaha believed these men would return changed, either mentally broken or spiritually lost, unable to regenerate or reintegrate to their communities. We can feel this through story from one such tale from the Omaha people. Once, long ago, in the lands of the Omaha people, there was a young hunter. Strong and proud, he roamed the vast prairies, his heart beating in time with the rhythms of the earth. But on this fateful day, he ventured into the embrace of the forest. He felt a whisper of something otherworldly. From the shadows she emerged, a vision of ethereal beauty, her long hair cascading like waterfalls, shimmering in the dappled sunlight. Her eyes sparkled with a mystery that beckoned him closer. This was the Deer Woman, a spirit of the wild, a guardian of the forest, both enchanting and formidable. Entranced, he followed her, captivated by her grace. But as he drew near, an unsettling truth began to unfold. Her feet, delicate yet strange, bore the unmistakable shape of hooves. With a heart racing like a thunderstorm, the hunter understood. He was lost, ensnared in the web of beauty and danger. The forest, once a familiar friend, had transformed into a labyrinth of shadows. Panic surged through him as he turned to flee, but the woods twisted and turned, leading him deeper into an otherworldly realm. The haunted call of the Deer Woman echoed in his ears, a siren song that filled the air with both allure and dread. Days turned into nights, nights into days. The hunter wandered, disoriented and broken, his heart heavy with the longing for home. He had abandoned his responsibilities, lured by a beauty that concealed a dark truth. And there she stood again, the Deer Woman, a haunting vision in the twilight. "You sought me, young hunter," she whispered, her voice like the rustling leaves. "Now you must learn the cost of your desire." With that, she revealed herself, a being of wild, a spirit bound to nature's will. In her eyes, he saw not just beauty, but the essence of life and death, the eternal cycle of the earth. The hunter understood that the true beauty lies not in the allure, but in the respect for the land, for the spirits, for the balance of all things. With her lesson engraved upon his heart, he found his way back. However, he was forever changed. Though he returned to his people, the echoes of the dear woman remained with him, a haunting melody that reminded him of the dance between temptation and duty. Alice Fletcher's accounts were only the beginning. Another ethnographer, James Owen Dorsey, collected similar stories from the Sioux and the Ponca. His documentation paints a fuller picture, showing us the dear woman's role as both a spirit tied to nature and a punisher of those who violate the moral and the natural laws of the land. She isn't just a trickster or a ghost. She was a force of nature, a guardian, and in some cases, a judge. Let us now journey deeper into the heart of one of the most enduring tales of the deer woman, the story of the Lakota hunter. A young Lakota hunter had ventured into the woods one morning, hoping to bring back food for his family. As the day wore on and the sun began to set, and still he had found no game. Frustrated and tired, he stopped for a moment to rest, and that is when he saw her. At first she seemed like any other woman, dressed in furs, moving gracefully through the trees. She smiled at him, and with just a glance, he was captivated. Without a word, she beckoned him in deeper into the woods. He didn't think twice. As they walked, something gnawed at the back of his mind, that something wasn't right. She moved too quickly, too lightly, as if she was floating above the ground. Then he noticed her feet, or rather, her hooves. Yeah, hooves where feet should have been. His heart raced, but it was too late. He tried to run, but no matter which way he turned, the trees grew denser, the path back to his village vanished. And days later, he stumbled out of the forest, exhausted and disoriented. The man who had gone in was never the same as the one who came out. The dear woman had led him astray, and in her wake, she left a broken man. This story is passed down through generations and generations of Lakota. It serves as a cautionary tale and a warning. For those men who are led by temptation or stray from their responsibilities will risk losing themselves forever. While the Lakota tale portrays the deer woman as a fearsome figure, not all stories about her are filled with danger. Among the Ojibwe, her role is much more benevolent, often tied to fertility, the cycles of nature, and the protection of women. We can see the deer woman in this role from one of the stories from the Ojibwe tribe. In a time long ago, when the earth was young and the spirits danced among the trees, the Ojibwe people lived in harmony with the land. They revered the natural world, understanding it provided for them, and in return, they honoured it with ceremonies, song, and gratitude. Among the spirits that roamed the woods was a being of great beauty and grace, the deer woman. As the cold grip of winter slowly surrendered to the warm embracing of the spring, the Ojibwe people felt a sense of renewal in their hearts. The snow melted away, revealing the rich, dark soil ready to cradle new life. The trees began to bud, and the air was filled with sweet songs of birds returning from their southern homes. It was during this sacred time that the women of the tribe gathered to prepare the annual planting dance, a ceremony celebrating the earth's bounty and the promise of a fruitful harvest. The air crackled with excitement as the women wove vibrant garlands of wildflowers and herbs, the laughter ringing like chimes in the gentle breeze. They shared stories of the dear woman, recounting her enchanting beauty and the blessings she bestowed upon them who honoured the land. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across the landscape, the women adorned themselves with their finest garments and made their way to the ceremonial grounds. The gathering was a tapestry of colours, bright reds and greens and blues, twinkling in the fading light. And as the sun disappeared, the first stars began to twinkle above, casting a soft glow over the earth. The women formed a circle, their hearts beating in unison as they began to dance to the rhythmic sound of drums and flutes. Their movements flowed like water, and with each step they called upon the spirits of the land, seeking blessings for the up-and-coming planting season. And as the dance continued, a hush fell over the gathering. From the edge of the woods emerged a figure, ethereal and radiant. She wore a dress woven from deerskin that was adorned with beads and feathers that shimmered in the moonlight. The women gasped, for they recognised her immediately. It was the Deer Woman, a spirit revered and loved by all. With grace that seemed to defy gravity, the Deer Woman joined their circle, her presence filling the air with radiant energy. The moment she began to dance, the world around them transformed. The trees swayed gently as if joining in celebration, and the stars above twinkled brighter, captivated by her beauty. The Deer Woman moved among the women, her steps light and fluid. She twirled and spun, inviting each woman to dance with her, weaving a tapestry of motion and joy. And as they danced, the Deer Woman spoke softly, her voice like a gentle breeze rustling through the leaves. Remember, dear ones, the earth provides for you, and in return you must care for it. Honour the cycles of life, for they are sacred. When you plant your seed, do so with love and gratitude, for the land will return your kindness tenfold. With every word, the women felt a surge of energy flow through them. They were no longer just dancers. They were part of a greater story, a living connection to the earth and all its wonders. Each step they took echoed the heartbeat of the land, reminding them of their role as the stewards of the land. As dawn began to break, casting a soft pink hue across the sky, the Deer Woman completed her dance. The women were breathless, filled with an indescribable joy in connection to the world around them. As the Deer Woman turned to leave, she left behind her a trail of delicate hoofprints that shimmered in the morning light. The next day, as the sun rose high in the sky, the women returned to the fields from where they had planted their seeds. And to their astonishment, they had discovered that the earth had responded to the Deer Woman's blessings. New shoots had burst forth overnight, stretching towards the sun with their vibrant green leaves. Their hearts swelled with gratitude, for they knew that the Deer Woman had ensured their harvest would be bountiful. The legend of the Deer Woman continues today to be told amongst the tribe, its story weaving its way through generations like a gentle river carving a path through the landscape. She has become a symbol of fertility, for renewal and the delicate balance of nature. The women of the tribe honoured her through ceremonies, dances and songs, ensuring that her teachings remain alive in their hearts. As the years pass, the Deer Woman's spirit remains a guiding light for the tribe and all its people. It's reminding them to tread lightly upon the earth and to honour the sacred cycles of life. Each spring, as the flowers bloom and the earth awakens, the Deer Woman's legend will be told anew, inspiring the next generation to cherish the land and all its gifts. Through the story of the Deer Woman, the Ojibwe people found not only a connection to their past, but also a profound understanding of their role in the world. A reminder that beauty is both a gift and responsibility, intertwined with the very essence of life itself. But as with many mythological figures, the Deer Woman's dual nature means that she can also serve as a force of justice. Among the Cheyenne, the Deer Woman is not just a symbol of fertility or mystery. She is a punisher of men who have wronged women, particularly those who are unfaithful or abusive. We can find this through another story of the Deer Woman. In the vast expanses of the Great Plains, where the wind whispered secrets and the sun painted the skies in hues of gold and crimson, lived the Cheyenne people. They roamed the land as hunters and gatherers, intimately connected to the rhythms of nature. Among their many stories, one spoke of captivating spirit, the Deer Woman, a figure of both beauty and warning. As the seasons turned to spring, the prairie came alive with vibrant wildflowers dancing in the gentle breeze. The Cheyenne gathered in their lodges and prepared for the annual hunt. The men sharpened their arrows, and the women tended to their families, weaving colourful blankets that would keep them warm during the cold nights. But this spring held deeper significance, for the Cheyenne knew that the dear woman would soon make her presence known. Tales of her beauty and the lessons she imparted filled the air as the elders recounted the stories around flickering firelight. She was a guardian of the land, a spirit who watched over the people and ensured balance, but she was also a punisher for those who strayed from the path of righteousness. One brave young man, known for his strength and hunting prowess, felt a yearning in his heart. He often heard the whispers of his friends bragging about their conquests and the women that they had seduced. He thought little of the tales of the dear woman, dismissing them as mere folklore designed to frighten young men into behaving. One fateful morning he set out alone into the sun-kissed plains, convinced that he could hunt without the help of his companions. As he walked, the world around him fell silent. The only sound was the gentle rustling of the grass beneath his feet. He was determined to prove his worth, to capture the finest deer and return as a hero. But the wilds were vast, and the temptation lay hidden in the depths. In a clearing bathed in golden light of the afternoon sun, he spotted a deer grazing peacefully. Its coat shimmered like silver, and his eyes sparkled with knowing intelligence. The hunter raised his bow, ready to take aim, when suddenly the deer transformed before his eyes into a stunning woman, adorned in a flowing gown that resembled the very essence of the prairie. Woven with flowers and leaves, her vision was that of beauty. The young man's heart raced as he gazed upon her. She was the most exquisite being he had ever seen, with long hair cascading down her back like a waterfall of night. Her laughter was a melodic chime, filling the air with enchantment. "Come to me, brave hunter," she beckoned, her voice like a soft breeze. "Leave your weapons behind and dance with me among the flowers." Captivated, the young man dropped his bow, entranced by her beauty and allure. He followed her into the heart of the meadow, where wildflowers swayed like a sea of colour and kissed the earth. He followed her into the heart of the meadow, where wildflowers swayed like a sea of colour and the sun kissed the earth. Together they danced under the wide open sky, lost in a world of joy and abandonment. Time seemed to stand still, and the hunter felt invincible, far removed from his duties and its expectation of the tribe. As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the hunter began to feel a sense of unease. He looked down at the woman's feet and noticed they were not human, but hooves, elegant and graceful, yet unmistakably animalistic. A chill swept through him as realization dawned. This was the dear woman, and he had strayed too far from his path. Panic gripped his heart, and he turned to flee. But the meadow had transformed into a maze of flowers that twisted and turned and confused him. No longer could he find his way back to his village. The once familiar landscape became foreign and threatening. The laughter of the dear woman echoed all around him, a haunting reminder of the choices he had made. Days turned into nights as he wandered, disoriented and lost, and calling out for help that would not come. The wilderness was unforgiving, and he had learned firsthand the lessons of humility and the respect for the land. The dear woman had tested him, revealing the consequences of abandoning his responsibilities and succumbing to temptation. Finally, when he had nearly given up all hope, the young man stumbled back to his village, weary but transformed. His heart was heavy with the weight of experience, yet a flicker of wisdom ignited within him. He had been shown the beauty of the land and the importance of honour and fidelity, not just to his tribe, but to the very essence of life itself. In the days that followed, he shared his story with the people, warning them of the dear woman and the lessons she imparted. The Cheyenne gathered around their fires, listening intently as the young man recounted his encounter. They understood that the dear woman was a guardian of the land and a spirit to be respected and revered. From that day forward, the young man lived a life of integrity, honouring the land and its gifts. He became a leader among his people and guided them with the wisdom he gained from his encounter. The dear woman, though a figure of beauty, was also a reminder of the delicate balance between temptation and responsibility. This story, much like the Lakota tale of the hunter, emphasises the consequences of breaking the moral code of the community. The dear woman, in this sense, is a protector, a force ensuring that the misogyny by men cannot escape justice. Though her roots are ancient, stories of the dear woman continue to surface today, showing that she still remains an active part of cultural consciousness in many Native American communities. One of the most common settings for dear woman sightings is at modern-day powwows. At these large gatherings, there are numerous accounts of people seeing this mysterious woman at the edge of the powwow grounds. She stands quietly in the shadows, observing the dancing, but never participating. At first, people believe she is just a lost visitor, but when they approach her, she vanishes. In these stories, those who see her feel a heightened sense of spirituality, as though her presence is a blessing for the gathering. Other contemporary encounters come from rural areas, particularly in the American Midwest. One story from the early 2000s tells of a man driving through the woods late at night in Wisconsin. He spotted a woman walking along the road and slowed down to offer her help. But as he drew closer, he realised something was terribly wrong. Her legs, they were the legs of a deer. Terrified, the man sped off, only to look into his rearview mirror and see that she had disappeared. Across the world, many cultures tell stories of female spirits or shapeshifters who seduce or lead men astray, those often with moral lessons attached. In Mexico, we find tales of the La Llorona, also known as the Weeping Woman. She is a ghostly figure in Mexican folklore, often seen wandering near rivers or lakes, crying out for her lost children. Just like the dear woman, she uses her appearance to lure people in, mostly men, into their peril. She's said to punish men for infidelity or for disrespecting women, and acts as a cautionary tale for those who abandon or mistreat their families. Across the ocean to the enchanting lands of Scandinavia, we meet Hundra, a beautiful forest spirit, often depicted as a stunning woman with her features hidden by long hair. But her back is hollow like a tree, and she is often seen with a cow or fox's tail. So like the deer woman, she can't disguise her true nature. They are both tied to nature, and both protect it by luring men away from the safety of a well-walked path. In Irish folklore, it is said that many great poets and musicians were inspired by the Líneshi, who would visit them in their dreams and even in person. However, after a short period of creative brilliance, the artist would become obsessed and consumed by her, wasting away in both mind and body until they die. The Líneshi would then move on to another victim, leaving behind a trail of broken geniuses. Both the Líneshi and the deer woman are portrayed as a femme fatale archetype, who use their beauty to seduce and destroy those who fall under their spell. Whether they're protectors of nature like the deer woman, or punishers of the unfaithfulness like the Corral of South Asia, or the Baivonshi of the Scottish Highlands, or they are symbols of fertility and renewal like the Selkie or the Hundra, these figures bridge the human world and the mystical forces of nature, often acting as warnings against temptation, disrespect, or moral failure. The deer woman is a figure of duality, a figure of both feared and revered, a symbol of beauty, danger, fertility, and justice. Her presence in Native American folklore continues to remind us of our connection to the natural world and the consequences of our actions. From the cautionary tales of the Lakota hunters to the justice dealt by the Cheyenne's punisher of men, the deer woman's story spans centuries and remains relevant today. As long as these stories are told, the deer woman will live on and bridge the gap between human society and the mysteries of the natural world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time and myth as we explored the beautiful stories of the deer woman. And so please don't forget to like and share this video. Also hit the bell so you can get notifications of the next episode. And also we really love hearing from our listeners, so please do drop us a comment below. I'm Chris, and this has been another episode of Podcast Folklore. And so until next time, keep your eyes open and remember to always explore the world with wonder.